Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurin Afikah binti Muhammad Nazri with metric number I19103577. So, today we will be presenting about the communication in organizational behavior. First of all, we need to know the definition of communication. The definition of communication refers to the exchange of information and ideas to create understanding between two parties. Okay, now we go through to the what is verbal communication and what is non-verbal communication. Verbal communication is the use of words to share information with other people. It can therefore include both spoken and written communication, but non-verbal communication is the transfer of information through the use of body language, including eye contact, facial. Okay, now we go through to the next slide, which is the communication process. The communication process contains 7 stages. Okay. The first is sender has an idea. Mungkin pada slide ni anda tidak jelas, tetapi pada slide seterusnya saya akan jelaskan bagaimana proses of communication ini berlaku. Okay. The first is Ali, iaitu sender, has an idea. Ali ni mempunyai idea untuk mencakap atau memberitahu sesuatu kepada Abu. Dia ada idea. Okay. Dia pun dia cakap, okay, aku ada idea nak bagi tahu kepada Abu. Okay, step yang kedua, sender encodes the idea. Ali fikir, macam mana aku nak bagi tahu kepada Abu ni? Sama ada di dalam bahasa Inggeris, bahasa Melayu, menggunakan tones apa, ataupun menggunakan form of word yang macam mana. Okay, dia pun encodes idea dia tu, apa yang dia nak cakapkan tadi. Yang ketiga pula, Ali pun transmit dia punya idea. Dia nak transmit dia punya idea tu, dia tengah fikir sama ada dia nak menggunakan kaedah face to face, cakap secara bersemuka, ataupun menggunakan kaedah WhatsApp, ataupun menggunakan kaedah banyak lagi Skype seterusnya. Okay, banyak lagi kaedah yang boleh digunakan. Maka sebagai contoh, Ali pun menggunakanlah kaedah dia nak WhatsApp kepada Abu, nak memberitahu apa yang dia nak beritahukan tadi. Tiba-tiba ketika dia hendak memberitahu Abu, dia nak transmit dia punya idea tu kepada Abu, berlakulah noise ataupun gangguan. Gangguan apa yang boleh berlaku tu? Iaitu dari segi poor connection, daripada internet connection tu sendiri. Gangguan internet. So, apabila berlakunya gangguan internet, maka berlakulah sekatan di situ. Bagaimana pula kalau dia face to face? Kalau dia face to face, mungkin berlaku gangguan dari segi bunyi kenderaan yang kuat, bunyi kereta api ke. So, apabila dia dah tahu noise kat situ, maka dia pun cuba supaya dia dapat transmitkan juga idea tu tadi. Maka apabila dia dah kenal pasti dia punya gangguan, dia pun dapatlah transmit dia punya message tu kepada Abu. Lepas tu receiver gets the message, iaitu Abu pun dapatlah message tadi. Apabila Abu dah dapat message, dia pun decodes the message. Receiver decodes the message. Dia cuba memahami apa yang disampaikan oleh Ali tu tadi. Ali ni sampaikan apa pada dia di WhatsApp dia, apa yang Ali sampaikan, kiriman apa yang Ali hendak cakapkan kepada Abu. Maka Abu pun decodes lah message tu. Selepas dia decodes the message, dia dah faham pun apa yang Ali sampaikan, maka Abu pun berilah feedback. Abu memberi tindak balas, memberi maklum balas kepada apa yang disampaikan oleh Ali. Maka itulah proses communication. Okay, now we go through to the types of communication, which is yang akan diterangkan dengan lebih jelas di part sahabat saya nanti. Okay, types of communication di sini adalah interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication is the term used to describe exchange of message between two people. Interpersonal communication adalah melibatkan dua individu. Okay, seterusnya kita pergi kepada formal and informal communication. Formal and informal communication is communication with employees within the chain of command through writing formal document as well as informal listening and interactions. So, formal and informal communication. Formal communication kebanyakannya dilakukan ataupun dibuatkan secara formal sendiri, iaitu selalu kita faham adalah secara formal. Maka mungkin ia dihantar daripada email ataupun ia melibatkan di situ flow yang lebih berstruktur. Tetapi kalau informal pula, ia hanyalah melibatkan in group yang mana ia lebih tak formal, ia lebih fleksibel. Okey, seterusnya kita lihat kepada apa itu pula internal and external communication. Internal and external communication is the exchange of information and ideas within or outside an organization for creating understanding. Internal and external communication ni adalah melibatkan daripada dalam organisasi itu sendiri ataupun luar organisasi itu sendiri untuk memberi kefahaman kepada individu-individu tersebut.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Adila binti Muhammad Nazir. My matric number I19103504. Today I want to present about the function of communication in organization. In a business management context, communication play 4 major functions. Dalam organisasi, objektif utamanya adalah bekerjasama sebagai satu pasukan untuk mencapai visi, misi dan matlamat organisasi. Manager dan pemimpin organisasi akan mengesan kemajuan setiap pekerja untuk memastikan bahawa misi, visi dan matlamat organisasi sentiasa tercapai. Oleh itu, pengurus dan pemimpin organisasi akan menggunakan komunikasi sebagai alat untuk memotivasi pekerja mereka supaya pekerja mereka bekerja dengan lebih keras lagi untuk mencapai sasaran matlamat organisasi. Pengurus juga akan menjelaskan apa yang diharapkan dari pekerja dan juga menyampaikan ganjaran yang dapat dijangkakan dengan wajar sekiranya sasaran tercapai. Pemimpin juga menunjukkan keperluan yang diperlukan untuk membantu pekerja dalam mencapai sasaran dan tujuan yang ditentukan untuk setiap pekerja. Sebagai contoh, sekumpulan pekerja telemarketer yang dibayar setiap jam oleh pengurus mereka diberi sasaran untuk menarik 100 pelanggan baru untuk mengunjungi kedai talian mereka setiap minggu. Sekiranya sasaran itu dapat dicapai oleh pekerja-pekerja tersebut, mereka akan mendapat kenaikan gaji setiap jam mereka sebanyak 10%. Second function of communication is information. Communicating information is necessary for getting work done. Information can either be conveyed from the manager or organization leader to the employer and vice versa. Insufficient information will hinder the employer in completing a job or achieve a goal. For example, the board of directors of a telemarketing office has agreed that first-time customer will be given a 20% discount on all purchases. This discount aims to attract new customers to the business. And information on this promotion has been communicated via a formal email to the head of operation, Mr. Ahmad. However, Mr. Ahmad overlooked this important email and the information was not shared among the telemarketer. At the month end, as the department head gathered for a meeting, it was not that sales remained stagnant. An investigation was done and they and they discovered that the telemarketers were not aware of the promotion for first-time customers. The third function of communication is control. An organization uses communication as a means to control employees and their work environment. Corporate documents such as company policy and procedure, standard operation procedure, and the do's and do's not for employer are commonly used as guides. They form a mechanism to control the activities and work standard of the employer in order for them to do their job well. This is very much needed by the employer, especially to woo a new to a job and workplace, as it will guide them to complete their task with minimal challenge. For example, Maria is a new employee who reports to the marketing department in an organization. She is tasked with setting up a display board for the monthly exhibition at a shopping mall. However, due to staff shortage, Maria has to complete the setting up alone. She is thus giving the standard operation procedure which indicated what material to bring for the exhibition. The last function of communication is interaction. Communication allows manager to interact with employer. It also allows organization to interact with their business partner, supplier, or vendor, agent, and customer. Interaction can either be formal interaction or informal interaction. It helps to fulfill business as well as social need and obligation. At times, informal interaction allows more information flow among the parties involved. It also allows for greater information sharing which will definitely benefit any organization as a whole. Social interaction play an important role in supporting employers to complete their tasks. Social interaction between employers has proven to be an important element in a successful organization as it can provide job satisfaction.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Farihan binti Cik Abdul Rahman. My number metric I19103555. I'm from Bachelor of Arabic Language from semester 3. Today, I will talk about the direction of communication. The direction of communication, message from a sender to a receiver, can flow in either three directions, which is downward communication, upward communication, and lateral communication. Downward communication happens when a manager instructs, delegates work, and shares information with employees who are at a lower level than the sender. Baik, downward communication ini berlaku apabila manager mengarah atau menyerah kerja dan share informasi kepada employees yang mana orang bawah daripada sender itu sendiri. Contohnya, Ahmad sebagai manager memberi arahan kepada Ali iaitu employees-nya, atau Ahmad sebagai manager memberi morning briefing kepada para pekerjanya sebelum memulakan kerja ataupun membuat meeting dan menyampaikan arahan dalam bentuk memo ataupun dalam bentuk announcement on the office website. Okay, upward communication. Upward communication happens when the employees at a lower level convey message to managers at higher level than them. Baik, upward communication ini berlaku apabila employee iaitu orang bawah ni menyampaikan message kepada manajernya. Contohnya, Ali sebagai employee memberikan feedback tentang kerjanya kepada manager, ataupun Ali ni sebagai employee memberikan report kewangan kepada manajernya. In an upward communication, some types of information that employees send to and share with managers include performance report, suggestion for improvement, problem and challenges, or grievances. 1. Performance reports. Okay, performance reports is when employees send in work progress report to their managers. The report can be in terms of financial, accounting report which indicate the sale, progress, the return on investment ROI, and the profit or loss of the particular department. Contohnya, performance report ni adalah bila employee memberi report kepada manajernya mengenai kewangan ataupun akaun yang mana ia melibatkan progress sale, untung ke rugi. Contohnya, Ali memberi report mengenai keuntungan kewangan kepada manajernya. Okay, next. Suggestion for improvement. Employees who are committed and care for the organization would share their opinions and findings which they encounter and discover during their day-to-day work activities. Okay. Employees ini yang mana rasa bertanggungjawab, dia akan memberitahu kepada manager dia tentang pendapat dia, opinion dia, cara bagaimana untuk improve apa yang kurang. Contohnya, Ali dia memberitahu manajernya tentang apa yang perlu dipertambahbaikkan agar sale-nya bertambah. Okay, next. Problem and challenges. Employee highlight to the managers and top management the problem and challenge they face on the job. This problem or challenges can work procedures or personal matters which hinder them from completing the task given. Baik, employee ini akan highlightkan, akan cakap dekat manager ataupun orang atas mengenai problem and challenges dia yang dihadapi sepanjang dia bekerja, sama ada dari segi prosedur work, macam ada yang tak kena ke, ada yang tak kena ke. Baik, contohnya Ali, dia memberi tahu manajernya tentang masalah diri dia yang tidak dapat menyelesaikan task yang diberi kerana masalah peribadi. Okay, next. Grievances and disputes. Komplain dan campur tangan ini, employees convey their happiness and grievances to their managers or to the top level management. This may pertain to the work environment, compensation, and reward which they are currently receiving. Their grievances about the employee are being treated by managers and many more. Okay, employee ini akan sampaikan apa yang dirasa tak puas hati ke, apa dirasa tak happy ke kepada manager dia atau top management, sama ada dari segi persekitaran dia sendiri. Contohnya, Ali merasa persekitaran kerja dia tu banyak sangat kawan toksik. Ada satu contoh ni, ada satu cerita ni, kawan saya sendiri, dia merasakan bahawa di tempat kerja dia tu ramai sangat kawan-kawan toksik dan dia rasa terganggu untuk bekerja, dan dia memilih untuk meminta kepada manager dia untuk menukar dia kepada departmen yang lain. Lateral communication. Lateral communication is an exchange of information which flows among employees of the same level. Okey, lateral communication ini adalah pertukaran maklumat antara sama-sama pekerja yang berada pada level yang sama ataupun antara manager dan manager. Okey, for example, include communication between manager of marketing and manager of financial, manager of marketing and manager of accounting. Okay, lateral communication has its positive and negative aspect. For positive, lateral communication is formally instruct, help to save times and facilities coordination at work. It creates a shortcut for disseminating important information among members of group as well as getting assistance to complete work. Okey, positifnya dia boleh membantu jimatkan masa dan juga membantu untuk mengekalkan koordinasi kerja. Okey, macam ni. Kan sama-sama bekerja. Bila sama-sama bekerja, dia memahami apa yang masalah yang dia hadapi. Jadi, mudah untuk dia menyelesaikan masalah itu bersama atau mengekalkan keseimbangan kerja. Okay, for the negative aspect, lateral communication is not monitored, can create if not monitored, can create conflict that could drag the productivity of an organisation down. Okay, kalau tidak dimonitor, dia boleh menimbulkan konflik. Macam mungkin dia akan berlakunya curi kerja, seorang dapat kredit, seorang tak dapat kredit, ataupun bila buat kerja sama-sama ni, mungkin seorang yang akan dapat nama, seorang lagi tak, dan mungkin akan berlaku salah faham.
Assalamualaikum and good morning. I'm the fourth presenter. My name is Nurfasha Atika binti Asri. My matric ID is I19103613. So today I would like to continue my group presentation. So the title that given to me is Interpersonal Communication. So we go through the first slide, which is interpersonal communication, that people can communicate with each other in three ways, which is oral communication, non-verbal communication, and written communication. Okay, so we move to the next slide, which is oral communication. It refers that oral communication to non-verbal communication. It includes speeches, formal one-to-one or group discussion, and rumors spread through the grapevine. So, oral communication is face-to-face communication such as lecture, seminar and interview is used to create rapport and trust. The advantage of oral communication, which is save time, create groups, encourage teamwork, and also allow instant feedbacks and responses. Next slide, non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is the transmission of message without using words. Instead, it is done by hand gestures, eyes and facial expression, psychological changes, face, and also appearance. It's actually a transmission of messages without using words, without any words. For example, handshakes, dressing style, and dress codes. Okay, next slide. For non-verbal communication, it has general body language, hand gestures, eyes, and facial expression. Psychological changes, use of space, which is proxemics, and appearance. For general body language, it means that different body gestures indicate different meanings to a sender and other people involved in a communication process. Next, hand gesture. It means that plan movement and signals are another way of communicate. It is another way to communicating without words. Next, eyes and facial expression is the one face also convey the message. Next slide, for psychological changes, is in the psychological of person, also indicate message. Blinking, for example, is a common reflex action. Next, use of space, which is proxemics. It tells the amount of distance space that a person needs is influenced by a number of factors, including social norms, situational factors, personality characteristics, and level of familiarity. Lastly, appearance. It is the color of skin, of the one's skin, hair, and clothes also convey a non-verbal meaning. For example, we can say that people like to judge the person itself by their appearance, by their look. Lastly, written communication. Written communication is any form of interactions that are written words, that use written words. The type of written communication that are used for business operation are memos, reports, bulletins, job description, employee manuals, and electronic mails or emails. It means that any form of interaction which uses the written words. However, written communication has its drawbacks. One drawback is the amount of time it taken to complete a message, letters, and so on. This can be more complicated for longer documents, proposal, or marketing plans. For example, the sender does not check the responses to the message sent, or the sender cannot see the lecturer whether the sent memo has been read by the recipient or not. With the technology nowadays, email is the medium of choice for the sending or sharing information, and also a tool to coordinate work in the workplace.
Hi and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Indah Sakinah binti Suhaimi. My metric number I19103523. I'm a Bachelor Communication Business Administration. I will present about the organizational communication. What is organizational communication? It's about the how to we communicated with the others in another ways to share information. So, the vision, mission, and goals can only be achieved if sufficient information is shared throughout the organization network. The information being shared is in both formal or informal ways. Both methods are important in their own ways. Communication. Electronic communication is mean any transfer of sign, signal, writing, image, sound, or any else of nature transmitted in whole or in part by a wire, like a radio, electromagnetic, photoelectronic, or something else. And also, email are a communication tools for recording work at the workplace. In organization, was prefer something easy to sharing a communication with another. Such as another apps include in electronic communication is Facebook, Twitter, Skype, WhatsApp, or something else that using by the electronic that we can easy to sharing information without we face to face. So we use the electronic to easy for everyone. Second slide is a video conferencing. It's mainly used in organization where the parties involved in the discussion are geographically far apart, and also video conferencing usually used when the traveling and sharing time in the discussion meeting required to all the members of the floor to be present in the same room. Like example, when your boss or your employee go to holiday and they need to discuss something important, so what can they do? Someone is far apart, someone is in the office, so we can use a video conferencing to meet together in the same room. Like example, another platform media is Skype, Google Meet, Zoom, Microsoft Meet. There is a platform, and another platform we can use to organization discuss something important. Next slide. Next slide is the grapevine. What is the grapevine? The grapevine is informal communication network which is often used as a medium for communication in an organization. Since it is an informal communication network, it is not controlled by the top management. So when we talk, we don't need to speak formally with the core word in office 24 hours. We need to reduce stress. We need to talk like a friends. We need to talk like a friend, like a family. We don't need to like you are workers, I'm a workers. We should talk formal 24 hours in the words.
Okay, next, I will continue to the topic of the next presentation. My name is Siti Sarah binti Muhammad Nazari with number metric I191034AA. Okay, today I will present barriers to effective communication. Communication is present in everything from having a conversation to being in the workplace. It is thought that in order for a company to be successful, there must be a strong communication within the company and between workers. A lack of communication or miscommunication can drastically affect relationships within the workplace and the quality of the work. Therefore, it is important for all companies to understand the barriers that hold them back from effective communication. Here are some barriers that may cause to effective communication are selective perception, filtering of information, language difference, information overload, emotions, poor listening, and distractions. Now, here, I want to explain you each one of them in detail. The first one is selective perception. Due to individual difference, the parties involved in the communication process will have different understanding on the message delivered. If a manager does not like a particular employee, for example, she may be super critical of the person's behavior and notice every time he is a minute late to a meeting. On the other hand, a favorite employee coming late to work one morning might elicit concern that she had car trouble. Selective perception introduces bias into the communication process. Secondly, filtering information happens when the sender would screen out certain information before it is sent to the receiver. This is done on purpose so as to make the message interesting and bearable to the receiver. Thirdly, language difference. Language difference are one of the most common communication barriers. The reason is because one word can be interpreted to give different meanings. Language, this may seem like a minor obstacle, but even people who speak the same native language can have difficulty understanding each other if they are different generations or different religions of the same country. Slang, professional jargon, and regional collegism can hurt communication with even the best intention. Next, information overload. This happens when a person has too much to do and the information which he or she receives is more than what he or she expects. It takes time to process large quantities of information and too many details can overwhelm and disrupt the audience for the important topic. In addition, emotions. The emotions of both the information sender and receiver play an important role in communication effectiveness. Common emotional barriers are fear, insecurities, mistrust, and disappointment. After that, poor listening skills. The receiver does not pay enough attention to the message being delivered, and this causes communication breakdown, which then leads to ineffective organization productivity. Listening adalah keupayaan untuk terima dan tafsir mesej dengan tepat dalam proses komunikasi. Tanpa kemampuan untuk mendengar dengan berkesan, mesej akan berlaku ketidaksalahfahaman. As a result, communication breakdown dan pengirim mesej can easily become frustrated or irritated. Lastly, distractions. Distractions mean is gangguan, such as noises, sentences that are too short, bad handwriting, or interruption by a third party contribute to message.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name Muhammad Azim Salahuddin bin Abdul Muttalib. Metric number I19103483. Today I want to talk about improving communication skill. Communication is an integral element in daily activities, but at times it can be ineffective. Sometimes people listen not to understand what is being said, but rather just to respond to the sender. Ineffective communication leads to unsuccessful activities and conflicts, which could tarnish the name of an organization as well as the positive vibes which the organization itself. Komunikasi adalah elemen yang tidak dapat dipisahkan dalam aktiviti harian, tetapi kadang-kadang ia tidak berkesan. Kadang-kadang orang yang mendengar tidak memahami apa yang diperkatakan, melainkan sekadar memberi respon kepada siapa yang sedang berkomunikasi dengannya. Komunikasi yang tidak berkesan membawa kepada aktiviti dan konflik yang tidak berjaya, yang boleh mencemarkan nama sesuatu organisasi dan juga di dalam organisasi itu sendiri. Walau bagaimanapun, kemahiran komunikasi dapat ditingkatkan untuk mengelakkan komunikasi yang tidak berkesan. Seseorang dapat berkomunikasi dengan lebih berkesan dengan beberapa tips ataupun panduan yang baik. Alright, point 1 is be a good listener. Listening is a critical feature in effective communication. This is because the sender and the receiver will have a common understanding of what the message is and later what the action would be. Implementing and practice effective listening at the workplace create a safe environment where idea, comments and feedback are welcome. In turn, this would lead to a more harmonious working atmosphere for an organisation. Pendengar yang baik, mendengar adalah ciri penting dalam komunikasi yang berkesan. Ini kerana pengirim dan penerima akan mempunyai pemahaman umum tentang apa itu pesan dan setelah itu apa tindakannya. Melaksanakan dan mempraktikkan pendengaran yang berkesan di tempat kerja mewujudkan persekitaran yang selamat, di mana idea, komen dan maklum balas diterima. Sebaliknya, ini akan membawa kepada suasana kerja yang lebih harmoni bagi sesebuah organisasi. Poin yang kedua adalah understand and master non-verbal communication. Many people express their thought using body language. Therefore, failure to understand this signal create misunderstanding. To understand non-verbal communication, one needs to practice observing how people use body language in communicating and what direction to the behavior are. One also needs to understand the non-verbal communication signals as a group. Memahami dan menguasai komunikasi bukan lisan, banyak orang meluahkan pemikiran mereka menggunakan bahasa badan atau body language. Oleh itu, kegagalan memahami isyarat ini menimbulkan salah faham. Untuk memahami komunikasi bukan lisan, seseorang perlu berlatih bagaimana orang lain menggunakan bahasa badan dalam berkomunikasi dan apa reaksi terhadap tingkah laku tersebut. Seseorang juga perlu memahami isyarat komunikasi bukan lisan sebagai satu kumpulan atau satu organisasi. Pengurus dan pemimpin terutamanya juga perlu mempelajari seni menyampaikan perasaan positif melalui bahasa badan dengan baik. Sebagai contoh, pemimpin dan pengurus di dalam sebuah mesyuarat atau temu ramah menggunakan bahasa yang tinggi, ini menunjukkan bahawa mereka sedang menegaskan sesuatu atau menegaskan sesuatu atau mahu pekerja-pekerja mereka melaksanakan atau melakukan arahan tersebut. Poin yang ketiga ialah be mindful of individual difference. Different culture, age group, gender, race and religions use non-verbal signal differently. One needs to understand this signal and be sensitive to the differences in practice, as misunderstanding could lead to conflicts. Right. Be mindful of individual different ni bermaksud, kalau kita pernah dengar istilah bercakap ikut pangkat. Okey, ini bermakna kita bercakap itu mengikut siapa yang kita nak bercakap. Sebagai contoh, polis, nurse, agamawan. Itu yang dimaksudkan sebagai different cultures, age group, genders, race. Sebagai contoh, bila kita bercakap dengan polis, kita akan memanggilnya tuan. Dan lecturer, kita akan memanggilnya puan, tuan dan sebagainya. Oleh itulah kita perlu menggunakan bahasa-bahasa yang betul atau panggilan-panggilan yang betul apabila kita hendak berkomunikasi dengan mereka. Seterusnya ialah yang keempat, have a high level of emotional awareness. Emotional awareness is an awareness of moment-to-moment emotional experience. Having high emotional awareness can assist a person to understand and empathize with what another person is facing. Emotional awareness also helps to build a strong relationship among group members, as it creates a trusting and reward relationship. Mempunyai tahap kesedaran emosi yang tinggi. Kesedaran emosi adalah kesedaran pengalaman emosional dari semasa ke semasa. Mempunyai kesedaran emosi yang tinggi dapat membantu seseorang untuk memahami dan bersimpati dengan apa yang dihadapi oleh orang lain. Kesedaran emosi juga membantu membina hubungan yang kuat di antara ahli kumpulan kerana ia mewujudkan hubungan yang saling mempercayai dan bermanfaat. Sebagai contoh, di dalam ahli kumpulan kita atau rakan sekerja kita yang mengalami masalah, di mana kita boleh lihat pada reaksi wajahnya dia sedih, marah atau gembira, ia boleh ditunjukkan dengan reaksi muka. Oleh itu, kita sebagai rakan sekerja atau rakan sejawatan perlulah memberi sokongan atau pertolongan yang kita mampu. Yang kelima ialah improve workspace design. In certain organisation and culture, a wide gap between the manager and the employee is practiced. The gap is practiced or shown by the workspace layout as well as the work environment. For example, in some organisation, the rooms occupied by the manager or leader are not located on the same floor on work area where the employees are situated. Yang kelima ini ialah meningkatkan reka bentuk ruang kerja dalam organisasi dan budaya tertentu. Jurang antara pengurus dan pekerja dipraktikkan. Jurang dipraktikkan atau ditunjukkan oleh susun atau ruang kerja dan juga persekitaran kerja. Sebagai contoh, di beberapa organisasi, bilik yang dihuni oleh pengurus atau pemimpin tidak terletak di tingkat atau tempat kerja yang sama di mana pekerja berada. Okey, maksudnya so kita sedia tahu kebanyakan organisasi atau syarikat-syarikat yang besar di tingkat atas terletaknya pengurus ataupun bos, di mana pekerja-pekerja di tingkat bawah. Okey, ini menunjukkan tiada jurang antara pekerja dan pengurus untuk saling berkomunikasi. Ini mewujudkan penghalang dan jarak antara pengurus dan pekerja. Terdapat keadaan lain di mana organisasi melabur dalam merancang semula ruang kerja atau kawasan kerja untuk mewujudkan kawasan perbincangan terbuka, kafeteria biasa dan juga ruang bawah untuk membolehkan pekerja mendapatkan lebih banyak peluang untuk bertemu dan berbincang. Okey, ini bermaksud pekerja dan pengurus hanya dapat berkomunikasi dan berjumpa di kafeteria atau di kawasan-kawasan rehat. Inilah yang dimaksudkan perlu untuk meningkatkan reka bentuk ruang kerja dalam organisasi dan budaya tertentu.
Okay, back to me. Okay, now we go through to the komunikasi. Bagaimana komunikasi ini mengawal tingkah laku individu di dalam organisasi. How does communication control human behavior in the workplace? So first, it is essential for managers to sit with their team members at least once in a week, monitor their performance regularly. Bermakna, poin yang pertama ini sudah menunjukkan bermakna komunikasi itu adalah sangat penting di dalam organisasi. Kerana apa? Kerana untuk mengawal ataupun monitor mereka punya performance ataupun pencapaian yang dilakukan oleh pekerja-pekerja. Yang kedua, some people have a habit of fighting over petty issue. Kadang-kadang terdapat beberapa individu ni yang suka membesarkan isu yang kecil menjadi lebih besar. Maka komunikasi di situ adalah sangat penting. Speak to them, cakap kepada mereka, and make them aware all of the effects of conflict and misunderstanding, supaya mereka lebih aware kepada segala konflik dan ketidakfahaman, supaya apa yang berlaku tidak menjadi kepada isu yang lebih besar. Maka yang ketiga, managers need to pay attention to the needs and demands. Managers need to pay attention to the needs and demands of employee. Communicate and help the employee understand the company goals and objective. Yang ketiga pula adalah komunikasi ini juga adalah penting untuk kita mengetahui, iaitu manager untuk mengetahui tentang apakah keperluan dan kehendak pekerja-pekerja kita, pekerja-pekerja dalam organisasi, supaya mereka lebih dapat mencapai goal company, objektif company ataupun KPI company, iaitu Key Performance Indicator mereka. Okey. Yang keempat adalah communication helps employee develop a positive attitude towards work and organisation on the whole. Okay, next slide. Kita pergi kepada literature review. Literature review adalah saya dapatkan daripada jurnal yang bertajuk Organizational Communication as an Important Factor of Organizational Behaviour. So, petikan yang pertama adalah dikatakan oleh Wick and Browning 1986. Communication is the process of conveying the message from one person to the other. Komunikasi adalah berlakunya penghantaran mesej, penghantaran informasi ataupun maklumat daripada satu individu kepada individu yang lain. Yang kedua adalah Rouse and Rouse 2005. It is very important that the recipient of the information understand the content and the meaning of the message. Ini adalah sangat penting kepada penerima mesej itu, penerima informasi itu untuk memahami apa yang disampaikan. Yang ketiga, Wenrich and Kuhn state the function of communication in the organization is to connect the employees that organization in order to reach mutual goals. Function of komunikasi, fungsi komunikasi juga adalah dapat membantu organisasi itu supaya pekerja-pekerja mereka dapat mencapai goal objektif organisasi itu juga. Seterusnya kita lihat kepada case study. Mr. Ravi is the marketing manager of a company manufacturing designer clothes. One day in the morning, while leaving home, he had a quarrel with a person in his neighborhood on some issue. That person is a criminal who could abuse his family members. Mr. Ravi on that day is very worried and angry on the behavior of neighborhood person. On that day, a meeting was held by a team of marketing and design experts to ensure that whatever is produced according to market demand and taste and fashion of the customer. But Mr. Ravi could not pay attention to the discussion between them. Okay, kes ini menjelaskan, kes study ini menceritakan bahawa Mr. Ravi ini adalah dia telah bertengkar dengan jiran dia sebelum dia keluar daripada rumah. Dan dia mengetahui bahawa jiran ini pernah terlibat dengan kes jenayah. Maka Mr. Ravi pun waktu tu dia risau. Dia marah dengan jiran dia juga. Tetapi pada hari tu juga, Mr. Ravi ni dia kena attend meeting. Meeting yang mana untuk memastikan bahawa apa sahaja yang dikeluarkan adalah dapat memuaskan hati pelanggan. Ketika meeting tu diadakan, maka dia pun waktu tu dia tak boleh nak fokus. Dia tak boleh memberi perhatian sepenuhnya kepada discussion tu. Dia risau, dia keep risau je dengan keluarga dia, takut jiran dia buat apa-apa. So seterusnya kita lihat kepada discussion question daripada case study ini. Okay, question number 1. Identify the type of barriers to communicate mentioned in the above. Justify your answer. Kenal pasti apa gangguan yang terdapat di dalam petikan di atas. Pada pendapat saya, in my opinion, the barriers yang terdapat di dalam petikan di atas adalah psychological barriers. Why psychological barriers? Psychological barriers or emotional barriers. Gangguan emosi. Kenapa gangguan emosi? Mr. Ravi tidak dapat fokus kepada discussionnya disebabkan emosinya yang tak stabil, emosinya yang selalu merisaukan keluarganya di rumah. Dia takut jirannya berbuat apa-apa kepada keluarganya. Maka di situ terdapatlah psychological barriers ataupun emotional barriers. Then, question number 2. Identify the solution can make by Mr. Ravi to have a good discussion at that time. Okay, kita kena kenal pasti apakah solusi ataupun penyelesaian yang boleh dibuat oleh Mr. Ravi supaya dia dapat discussion yang lebih baik, dia dapat fokus kepada discussion tersebut. Maka, in my opinion, mungkin Mr. Ravi boleh hantar keluarganya kepada saudara mara yang lebih terdekat dengan rumahnya, ataupun Mr. Ravi mengajak keluarganya untuk keluar daripada rumah sementara dia tiada di rumah, ataupun mungkin boleh pergi ke mana-mana sahaja. So, dekat situ mungkin Mr. Ravi akan lebih fokus kepada discussion tersebut. Dan the last is mungkin Mr. Ravi can bring the family together to the company. So, itu adalah antara cara-cara yang boleh dibuat oleh Mr. Ravi. So, the conclusion is most people spend at least half their communication time listening. This most used communication skill is not only crucial in interpersonal communication, it also affects organizational communication and helps determine success in education and in careers. Kevin Murphy says, the better you listen, the luckier you will get. So,